Uh, my name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I'm going to say this. I put it on a lot of videos so that you have a reference to what I'm saying. I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace in 1941, brought to America, Moulton, Alabama, given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married a Childers. Both twins, Peggy and Carl, had been murdered by their unwed mother, and I lived in a pigsty, and such horrific crimes had happened. Besides being kidnapped from a loving family and brought to that hellhole, I didn't find out until '83 about my kidnapping. The fall of '83, I was in a political campaign um, to replace U.S. Congressman Larry McDonald. I had written about him in a medical malpractice book in 77, 78 about mind control and programming, back then when hardly anybody talked about it. You can easily get it now on YouTube. Just go in and look for mind control or MK Ultra, etc. And you can get a lot of good research on it. But mine, when I wrote about it, I had worked for doctors, and one was a cardiovascular, and I found out that they were putting chips, stents, which were chips really in heart bypasses, and you could control the person's behavior. You could program them to kill, their decision making, and they were never aware of it. But the murders that I put together were done in patterns, and they started in, well, before 70, but I was aware of it then. I just wasn't aware of how it was done until about 77, and I did the book and the use of mind control. Now then, over the years I've kept lists of it, and they were deliberately done in patterns, so you would think that one day they'd be told. My kidnapping, I was flown out to Flint and ran in the race to replace Larry McDonald, who I'd written about, the congressman doctor from Atlanta. Now then, I want to jump to this now. The murders, the mass murders like Tucson, Sandy Hook, and Aurora, there's a whole list of them, and then stars that have been knocked off. So this was done to the Americans too, their own government doing it to them. But they're the ones that's at fault. I have crawled and they have watched and participated in what's happened to me over the years. They very well thought it was a joke that they could kidnap the monarch and get away with it, and what has and is being done to me still. Now then, they talk about Edward Snowden. That's just the tip of the iceberg, what he has told. And the fact, what I wanted to address is the Attorney General, Eric Holder. All these crimes, and especially some of them here, have the federal government has been used, the agencies, really, in what's happened to me. If he's not aware of it, the media is, and I'm sure he is also. But he was here in Roanoke yesterday, and I just saw him in CNN, and they were talking about Eric Holder and what he said about Snowden, and he should come back and be tried and all this. He told the truth. How about the United States, Mr. Holder, and the Attorney General Holder? I can't even say my real name, okay? The crimes committed against me personally, and if you want to address something, the mind control murders, instead of going after Edward Snowden. And let me say this, because of the knowledge of what's been done in patterns, Edward Snowden, and I don't want to take anything away from him at all. I think he's a good man, and there's no way in HE that he should be prosecuted, all right? It's the media, it's the government officials, it's a lot of the people that should be prosecuted, not Edward Snowden for telling the truth. The media has known all this about my kidnapping, the mind control murders. They are so up to their head and over in the crimes. and deleting the news and telling lies, helping innocent people go to prison, or allowing the crimes to go on by not telling it when you know the truth. So I wonder yesterday, though, the people here in Roanoke surrounding all this and the crimes that have gone on being committed, did one of them or the media go up to Eric Holder and say, hey, just wanted to alert you in case you didn't know about the monarch living here in conditions that are so deplorable and what's been done to her? I just wondered in what she's telling about mind control. Just wonder if you knew. And she's got papers. She always has. Heck, they hauled off Larry Flint for trying to help her and for telling the truth about the government to button her using mental health. And that's what they're using on the mind control victims. That's a weapon being used. It has nothing to do with mental illness. But that's the game they're playing. So I just thought I'd throw that in. Why don't you go after the criminals, not Edward Snowden? Somehow he was either under mind control or he was personally gotten to go in and get the information that he did, which I would think is hard to do. And again, I don't want to take away from him. He's a hero. He shouldn't be prosecuted. For God's sake, come back and prosecute the criminals.